right, good afternoon, everyone. And I want to personally thank everyone that we're on LinkedIn Live, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live, and then we want to be able to subscribe to the YouTube channel. So, for those individuals that are looking to more or less gather some information, right? First off, I want to be able to thank Edwin Calderon. Met him quite a little, not just recently, but here's a guy that's been in the United States Marine Corps, Latino, and has been able to be successful. And here's the thing when we're talking about live podcasts and broadcasts, we're talking about having the right kind of content and to be able to share with people the type of like-mindedness when it comes to business. So if you like this segment of LinkedIn Perspective, I want you to share it, like it, tag it, subscribe to the YouTube channel, LinkedIn Live, LinkedIn Perspective. I have my own YouTube channel. This is strictly content, ladies and gentlemen. So for you people on LinkedIn Live, as far as the LinkedIn subscribers, this is more or less to be networking with high-level business entrepreneurs, successful people that can bring some value to themselves and then set up for success. This is a great opportunity for an individual who has taken his time out today to give free advice for 1 hour. This man is high demand, a top tier one level individual, is very demand on success and mentorship. So I am grateful that I have this opportunity to be able to share this platform with the one and only Edwin Calderon. So Edwin, please introduce yourself. Thank you.
Hey, Hiram, thank you. And to everybody, it's Edwin Carrion, Carrion. You could find me in social media, Edwin Carrion 78. But Hiram, thank you for having me here. And to everybody listening, good evening. Today is Friday. And normally Fridays is day night with my wife. But because I promised Hiram I was going to be here, I asked my wife if we could do the date tomorrow. She was more than willing to do the date tomorrow. But, this event today, we're going to talk about I want to really, after I think, Hiram, you did a poll that I saw last week in LinkedIn. And what I want to talk about is I want to talk to entrepreneurs that are stuck below $1 million. Those are the ones that really have been on the grind for many years and they haven't been able to get past the $1 million. So those are the ones that I want to talk to specifically today. But also, we're going to talk about the ones that are above the $1 million. But most importantly, it's always good to have kind of that balance in the whole life and everything that we do.
So, Edwin, tell them, share a little bit of story about yourself, and just for the audience, tell them a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, and how you've been able to get to this platform. There's always a timeline and success story for that.
Yes, thank you so much. My name is Edwin Carrion again. I'm on all social media channels as Edwin Carrion 78. 45 years old. I was born in Quito, Ecuador, raised by a single mother, come from a very, very humble beginning. Very humble home. When I came to the United States at 19 years old, I had the amazing opportunity to join the Marine Corps, become a Marine, and in that title to becoming a Marine, I had a lot of fun. I traveled the world, and then my mind expanded and opened up. And the moment when I was 22 that I was about to reenlist to renew my contract, I decided to leave the Marine Corps, and I had no idea what to do. Just as many 22-year-old kids know, nowadays they don't know what they want to do. I was in the same situation, and I'm like, what is it that I'm going to do now? And then my mom came and she's like, become a real estate developer. I had no idea what that was. I had no experience in construction whatsoever, but sure enough, the values that the Marine Corps gave me, the belief that I had in God, is what really made me take that leap of faith and get into real estate development. Became very successful in real estate, made a lot of money in very little time, and then lost a lot of money just as fast even faster than I made it. And I think in order to become successful in life, we all have to go through different struggles. And to me, that was like my biggest struggle, losing over $20 million, but eventually gaining it back and learning how to live a successful life, learning how to live life to the fullest, learning how to have financial freedom and live life on my own terms.
So that's a great analogy, right? And people don't understand that how you be able to make $20 million. Not even people can even have that thought process of making $20 million in a lifetime or 3 lifetimes, and then to lose it all and to come back. What's the biggest takeaway that you can take from that you want to share with people? Because you've come from the humble beginnings, you've been able to establish yourself, and then you've been able to create a platform that is very duplicatable, and you become a mentor. So what can you share with that with other individuals and help them understand what does that mean to you?
Yeah, the biggest thing in this one is it's all about the mindset, right? If we're able to do something once, we could always do it again. I've been very blessed to be in so many different industries. I've been in the gold mine business. I've been in the real estate business. I've been in the transportation industry. I've been in the forex business. And at the end of the day, you don't have to have experience in business. You just need to have that mindset. So you heard that saying where 80% is mindset, 20% is the experience. That was my 20%. I'm very good at creating businesses. I'm very good at being a visionary and scaling companies. And pretty much that's what I do. And that's what I help entrepreneurs do nowadays. Figure out ways that they're lacking on their vision, on their systems, on their processes in order for me to guide them the right way for them to be able to scale and break that $1 million that a lot of times is the hardest one for a lot of entrepreneurs.
So we're going to keep on talking. For normally, I see audiences, and for some reason I have it on live, but I don't see it on the feed. I see it on my feed on my profile, but I don't see it as far as what people need to know. But we're going to keep on talking, and I think it's important because it's going to stay recorded as much as possible. So Edwin, in that part, right, at 45 years old, when did your life started turning around from, the humble beginnings and you started putting the sweat equity in that part? What do you see from that point on? What is it that started turning around?
Um, a lot of things turn around in life, right? The first thing was understanding that it's okay to fail. And the more that we fail, the better that we become at something, the less that we're worried about uh, losing. I failed so many times that, failure to me is just another bump on the road and another piece of the mountain climb to the top. And you realize that as you're going along this journey, that is not about the money, but it's about your life that you want to have, the life that you want to live. For me, for example, it's like when I talk about having that vision for life. What is your vision for life? Like to me, it's right now living in a different country, enjoying what the world has to offer to me, being able to be spend as much time as I can with my kids, build those amazing experiences, and that's what that success has led me to.
So here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. They get frustrated when they see other people that have been able to set themselves up for success, right? And you see today's economy of what's going on. What's the biggest thing that you see it now that you live outside the country, but you've been able to level yourself to one of the top 1% entrepreneurs in the nation?
A lot of the time is that, and a very good friend talks about this, is like the poor people want to look rich, and the rich people don't want to look like anybody else. So one of the things that I noticed is that a lot of people are trying to live up so much by looking like everybody else, like buying expensive stuff when they can't afford that. So they end up getting in a lot of debt in order for them to get to that, in order for them to like uh, fake it till they make it, that like they call it, right? And it's not about fake it till you make it. A lot of times people are going to take you seriously for who you are and how you project yourself, not necessarily for what you're wearing or what you have on top of you. And one of the things that I learned is that with time, that the brands that you wear doesn't make the person that you are. Because if you see yourself at that type of image, when you start having money, then you're going to become that image person that is consuming yourself and not really being a person of value to others.
So yeah, so and you're saying is that too many broke people are, you're too broke to impress other people that really don't care, and they're not putting investment in themselves, personal growth, and putting their priorities to be able to establish themselves, so people can come to them versus they presenting themselves and wanting attention. Correct?
Exactly. Exactly.
So living in another country and you doing this business, how much of a difference is that
Oh,
living
I
in
mean,
the United States?
I'll tell you, there's only two things that I miss. I'm from Miami originally. I lived in Miami most of my life. And the only things that I miss from Miami, number one is my church. And number two is the ocean, going out on the water or going out on my yacht on the weekends. But besides that, there's nothing else that I miss from the United States. The quality of life here in South America and Colombia is very nice. I have a very nice quality of life. The people are nice. But the most important thing that I love about the most is that the humbleness. It brings the humbleness in you, letting you get away from like all those material things and maybe just focus more into the family and being a person of value and how can I help more people out. versus how what can I get? What's in it for me?
Right. So that's a great point you make because, right, it takes away that we as Americans that are born and raised in this country, we don't know differently, right? It takes an individual outside of the country to see the opportunities, but stay to their grassroots of understanding the dynamics of quality of life. Because as you stated, right, material things are only there for a small moment. And
More,
I think that people are, you know, compulsive shoppers. I buy this, I buy that. It makes me instant gratification, but then it's there. Then they start collecting dust. Then they become a professional hoarder because they're not fulfilled. Correct?
yes, exactly. Yeah, and you said it perfectly. It brings you that instant gratification, and I'm guilty as sin of that because I'm the same person. When I buy my Lamborghini, when I buy my yacht, that brings me that instant gratification at the moment. But I learned that once you start having those nice toys, that you create more than that when you start thinking about yourself and you start thinking about others. So for me, for example, having a nice yacht, what it has done, it has created amazing experience and amazing memories, not only for my family, but for my friends as well. And I'm also able to take other entrepreneurs in my yacht, take them out and show them that everything is possible. And that gives them that little push, that little want, that little I want this in order for them to go out there and work harder to make things happen.
So yeah, you've been able to put a visual right in front of them to stimulate their dreams, right?
Yes.
And they feel that vibration. And so they feel that vibration, they can determine themselves that belief system that I can do it,
Yes,
right?
and the other one, which is once you become exposed to something, you cannot become unexposed. So it's like, the first time that you go out on an airplane and you fly first class, you don't want to go back to coach ever again. So
I
you got to
agree.
do whatever it takes in order to fly first class every single time.
And that's the thing that I'm saying, Edwin. That's why people don't understand, right? They think success is a get rich quick scheme, and it's not. It's hard work, and you have to be committed, and you have to be consistent, and there's no days off. You got to be able to put your head down, and at the same time, correct me if I'm wrong, right? In your level of expertise, there you can't do it by yourself. You have to have a supporting cast. You can, but it'd be harder. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh, you're extremely correct, and that is the main reason I do not call myself a self-made millionaire. I call myself a God-made millionaire, and I took that self-made millionaire title out many, many years ago when I went bankrupt, for the simple fact that I realized that I didn't become successful because of me. I became successful because of all the people that helped me get to the top, the mentors, the people that work for me, my employees, my peers, the people that really said, Edwin, go ahead, you could do it. And it wasn't just because of me, it was because a lot of people along the way helped me out. Like, in order for me to build over 100 homes, I needed that amount of help. So all those people made that happen for me because I would have never done it by myself. So it's
So
always give credit to the people that are below you.
So that to your point, your question, right? Then during that business development of business leadership, what kind of leadership did you bring to the table to have these people literally follow you to help you create this wealth of success?
I think a lot of times it's about treating people with respect, treating people right, having a good culture. Nowadays, I'm very like I'm more now that I'm a little bit wiser, and I'm not so much wiser. I'm a little bit more wiser than I was before. I tend to have my team that share my values, share my faith. So all everyone in my team, they're Christians. They have the honor, the courage, the commitment, the Marine Corps values that we share. So I only work with people that share my same belief and my same values. And that has been a huge shift in everything that I do because now you start bringing quality instead of quantity people into your life.
So you make a valid point, right? Like-minded Christian people would bring values. I know that your experience in the trial and errors that you led up to $20 million and you lost. I know there were some valuable lessons that you learned that are pretty much DNA, non-negotiable things that are here today, correct?
Yes, extra, yeah, of course, definitely.
So can
Um,
you give me an example of one or two that pretty much is a not NDA, non-negotiable, for yourself, right?
yes, and I think not only for myself, but I think for everybody, it needs to be that number one, don't ever become over leverage. I think that's like the biggest mistake that I made in my life, becoming over leverage. If somebody would have told me, Edwin, do not become over leverage, you're going to lose money, you're going to go bankrupt because of that. I would have never done it. I would have been maybe, at a different level today. But it's part of the learning lesson, learning life lessons, right? Don't ever become over leveraged. Number
So,
two,
go
don't
ahead.
don't live above your means. A lot of people tend to live above their means, and it's live below your means until you have enough saved up that money that you have saved up is creating you passive income, so like that you're able to go and spend on the things that you want.
So sorry about that. So my other thing is sorry, that's what happens when you go live. So my other question, Christianity, right? You're a Christian, I'm a Christian. I'll share a little story from you from my. I decided to get baptized all over again about a little bit over a year ago when I saw the movie with my wife, The Jesus Revolution with Greg Laurie, right? So
Okay.
I went there. We live in Riverside. That church is about 20 miles. We went over there. I decided to get in there. And then what really motivated, what inspired me was the baptism in Pirates Cove in over there near Newport Beach. So I actually got baptized from that point on. But I can tell you from the minute I got baptized by Greg Laurie's son, right, Jonathan, for me, it was a commitment, a recommitment of doing things specifically different, not only for myself, but for the man upstairs, right? You know how we just get caught up on doing things that is
Yes.
just for me, but there's a bigger calling, right? So even though you don't like it, you're put in the world for a purpose, and you got to be able to do it for the man upstairs so you get better blessings. So that's why we're having this conversation because yes, time is money. You never get your time back. But I just want to hear from your point of view of how you feel at this point in your life.
Well, before I answer that question, I just want to add something to what you just said right now. Sometimes we just have to follow God's plan, even though we think that's not what we want in our lives, right? And to me, it happened when I was in the Marine Corps that He made me become a truck driver, and I never wanted that for me in my life. But sure enough, the reason I became a truck driver because God had a bigger plan for me. 20 years later, I ended up buying a transportation company. I'm taking the transportation company to over $30 million worth of revenues, getting into the Inc. 5000s as one of the fastest growing companies in the United States. So, that wasn't my path. That was God's path. So I just kind of follow, and then all of a sudden He revealed it to me. That's the reason I made you become a truck driver before.
So with that in your head, to the way you view things now, right? Not only from a religious standpoint, but from all the adversities, how do you view life now, and what can you share with individuals that are, you know, wanting to reach to your plateau but don't understand the gaps and the pitfalls of it?
Yeah. A couple of things. Number one, things don't happen when we want them to happen. Things happen when God has the plan for us for them to happen. We have to stay consistent. We have to continue pushing forward. We have to continue with our dreams, and we have to tell God what exactly is it that we want in our lives, and He's going to give us all the desires of our heart, whether they're material or non-material. And I'm a huge testament of that because I always said, that I wanted to have when I have kids, I wanted to have girls. And sure enough, I have two beautiful girls, right? So when we talk about materials and no material things, God gives you both of them, whatever you ask for. But at the same time, nowadays, things happen. There's struggles that come along the way, and there's always going to be struggles. Uh, there's always going to be things that are going to be against you. Like for me, being raised by a single mother, not having a father alongside with me, one of my struggles is how to be a good dad and how to be a good husband because I don't know what that's like, right? But
Hmm.
you know, working through that, following my plan, I know what I want for me in my life. I'm happily married for 13 years, and again, I'm a pretty good dad. I could tell you that. And the same thing for business. Business is hard, but consistency is the key. Keep going. Don't give up on your dreams. Always keep moving forward. But most importantly, one of the things that has gotten me to where I am today is finding the right mentors along the way, finding the right people that are going to take me that one step further, that is going to open that Rolodex for me and introduce me to the right people, that is going to tell me, Edwin, don't do this, do that, or maybe it's going to bring a great investment opportunity my way in order for me to continue growing and getting to where I want to get to.
So, here's the thing that we're talking about, right? My business partner, Dave Diaz, and myself, we talk about business coaches, but here's individuals, and I'm sure that you have been up to that level, right? But still, as human beings, you run into people that overpromise and underdeliver. They have champagne taste and beer money, but they expect certain expectations to your level. How do
Yes.
you respond to that when individuals bring that kind of attitude?
Oh, thank God, I'm a pretty good judge of character, so I haven't had too many encounters with that. So it's just sticking to your values and sticking to your faith. I think when you start attracting the right people, you start seeing less of that.
So here's my thing, right? When helping other Marines in transition, what did you learn in the Marine Corps that stuck to you, and what can you share with the audience who are not veterans, but they're looking to have that same opportunity as other veterans? What is the difference on that point?
Well, on the transition with veterans, I'll tell you one of the biggest things is that trust. Sometimes we just have to trust people. Not everybody's out to get us. And I noticed that within the veteran community, um, there's a lot of mistrust in the veteran community. So they don't want to trust people to go in there and give them a helping hand because they always think somebody's out there to get them. And unfortunately, that is not the case. There's people here that are willing to help, that want you to see succeed. Like for example, I'm one. I love to see people succeed. I have told so many people, how do I do my business? What do I do? Step by step blueprint. And a lot of people don't take action. And the reason for that is because sometimes when we give stuff for free, they don't value those things.
You hit it right on the head, and I'll give you two examples, and I'm not going to mention the companies, right? So my business partner and myself, I'm an influencer in LinkedIn, right? I'll use that. So we take the post and they're struggling, right? They're struggling, but I take their posts and I just do and give them free advice. All of a sudden, it becomes they gain momentum. They become successful. All of a sudden, they give me too many reasons not to do business and not enough results to be able to provide it. But meanwhile, they take the continuity and the formula to be able to succeed with themselves. Taught me a valuable lesson. One, it's always good to give, right? But not for free. Two
Yes.
is they tell on themselves because they tell me that the type of person they are in business. So I say, thank you for telling on yourself, because in a moment of need, there's a crisis, I know what kind of business partner you are. And
Yes.
four, I don't like dealing with people like that are not like-minded because they're looking for instant gratification in the long term. What do you think?
Oh, definitely. No, definitely. And those are the ones that, believe it or not, this world is such a small world that whatever goes around comes around. And in no time, you're going to realize that those people that let you down, they're going to come back asking you for something in the near future.
So my whole thing for you, right, as you become successful, right, when did you started noticing the paths that started changing? You put in the hard work, but I think that just walk me from 22, then just give me a segment, a short version of the timeline. When you went to a high point, downfall, what did you have to reevaluate, and what is it that you find yourself doing that you're able to be at this point in your life?
Okay. So pretty simple. Like, 22 went bankrupt. Um, I was down for a while, like 6 months. I was telling myself I was a failure. I was a loser. I'm never going to amount to anything else. And that right there is talking negative to yourself. You don't ever do that. Take that right away from your mind. I was very fortunate enough to go to a seminar, and it's called Millionaire Mind Intensive, that it shifted my mindset. It completely shifted my mindset and let me realize that if I did it once, I could do it again. So I came back, and the second thing that I did is I opened up myself for opportunities. The moment that you open up your energy, yourself for more opportunities, the right opportunities start coming to you. At that moment, 2008, a good friend of mine from the Marine Corps as well came to me and said, Edwin, I have a great business opportunity. And I got into the gold buying business. Sure enough, the gold buying business, we grew really fast. In less than 2 years, we were making $1 million profit per month and working only like around 10 hours per week. And then that's when I realized that I needed to learn how to sell a business. I learned how to sell a company, how to put it together, exited that company. I retired for the first time in my life, like around 34 years old. Still young to retire, went back into business, started real estate development, built up another company, sold that business again. And then from there on, I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? And I wrote this book that you see back here, Secrets of the Millionaire Gold Buyer, where I teach people everything that I did in order to become successful in the gold buying business. And not only in the gold buying business, but in any other type of business, so people could become really successful and create wealth, because that's a wealth creation vehicle. From there on, my passion came around. I bought the transportation company. I went back into real estate development. I created a Forex company. We lost millions of dollars on the Forex company. And finally, God spoke to me and told me, Edwin, I need you to teach people. I need you to teach entrepreneurs how to become really successful, just like I taught you how to become successful. And that's my journey so far.
So people, when you teach them how to be successful, I'm sure they raise an eyebrow and say it's too good to be true, right? Because their mind is not pretty much open-minded. They're not coachable because they're thinking they can save themselves, but they're looking for your advice. But the same thing, the biggest factor, the big X factor is trust factor. They don't trust themselves to be able to be fully coachable with you, correct?
Some of them don't. A lot of them do. They don't even think about it twice. They jump right away because they see the success that I had. They see the failures that I had. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to make the same mistakes. I don't want to have the same failures. Teach me how not to make that mistake again. Teach me, it's worth for me paying $100,000 to a mentor so I don't make a $500,000 mistake.
So for you, right, this is the way I look at it, and this is where people don't understand. Some people, correct, in a certain age, that you became one of those very successful people that found a niche, right time, right place, right, regardless of the failures,
Yes.
right? You didn't take the failure as a hard-hitting, depressing thing that you wanted to, like when they had the recession, people were killing themselves because they lost millions and millions and millions of dollars, right? You were able to more or less say, I know where I made my mistakes. It was a valuable, painful mistake. And it is a reminder that when you do business decisions, you make smart business decisions, not based on emotions, but on facts and figures and who are you around in order for you to elevate your business to a certain point, correct?
Exactly. And it's like they tell us in the Marine Corps, take ownership. Take ownership for the things that you do. And a lot of people want to blame everybody else. They want to blame their employees. They want to blame the economy. They want to blame the government. They want to blame the way they were raised, their family. But at the end of the day, you have to take ownership for your own self.
I think the people that if you're paying attention right now, right, in your 40s, I'm in my mid 60s. But here's the thing, the generation gap, right? The generation gap. What seems to be the difference from your level of generation to ours? How do they view business and how do they view life versus the elder people? I know you've been around other people that have more experience in life. Maybe you can share some insight with that.
I think I'm very fortunate enough to be 45 years old right now. And I think the good thing is that I lived through so many generations, and I'm living the best of both generations, right? The generations that were all about connecting with real people, building the real relationships, building the right relationships, and doing business the right way. And then I have the other generation, which is the technology generation, where it's, how can I make money fast, the instant gratification, how can I do everything online? So what it has done to me has helped me scale a lot faster on a way that once you take this part of the real life old school business way and the new school business way, you're able to grow a lot faster than if you're only focused on one generation or just one way.
And I think a lot of people are the misconception of it, right? They see so many opportunities and they're all over the board, but that tells you where their mindset is because they're not set in the foundation. And they say, if I stick to this and understand this level and able to duplicate it, other doors that I can be able to open will follow because I have a clear understanding of what it is versus, hey, Edwin, can you help me with this? Edwin, can you help me with that? You're juggling all these things, but you're not able to produce a lot of results, right?
No.
So my whole thing is that with Marines or anybody, let's say veterans, they want to be successful, right? But they have that challenge of the mental military mindset. They haven't grown. Probably they've been in enlistment 1 or 2. They haven't created an exit plan. They haven't found a mentorship. They haven't been able to change the love language from the military into business so people can be able to accept them and identify them. So what things that have you learned or you can share with other people that they need to develop if they want to talk to you?
Yeah, look, I think as a not only as a Marine, but as also as a veteran, as a military, we have one of the best traits that any business owner wants to have, which is the leadership traits. You know, we have so many amazing mentors while we're in the military that they teach us those leadership traits. So you're coming out with one of the best leadership traits that you could have in order to run any type of business. From there on, all you have to do is make sure that continue doing what you did in the Marine Corps, which is believing in yourself. Because, and I'm talking about Marines, right? When we're in the Marine Corps,
Right.
it make us believe that we are the best, like we're the best of the best, like we're better than everybody else. So we continue with that belief moving forward and carry that belief onto businesses. We're going to be able to tackle and create anything that we want in our lives. And the next thing that happens with that is also understanding that just like we were in the Marine Corps, we always had those mentors above us. We need to find the mentors that are going to teach us the things that we do not know, which is business, how to grow a business, how to scale a business, because the work ethic, the leadership, and the belief, we have those. So it's also getting somebody else that is going to turn us into that civilian person and help us continue growing into what we want to do.
So don't you believe also that it has to be a fit when people are needed mentors? Because some people want, they pay the money to be mentors, but they expect, they don't have that chemistry. I've seen it. They
Oh,
pay for it and they pay for it. They want instant gratification or guaranteed results, but they have to understand there's some accountability for themselves, to take some accountability that this has got to be a fit because I have to be coachable because I'm reaching out to you. What do you think?
oh no, yes, and definitely it has to be a fit. Not only a fit as far as do we get along, but also a fit as are you teaching me what I want to learn? You know, I'm not gonna go, for example, to somebody to help me how to become how to lose weight if that person is fat. I'm not gonna go to somebody to teach me about marriage if that person has been divorced 5 times, right? So I need to go to somebody that um, is living the life that you want to have. It's doing the things that you want to do. And with that being said, that also has the same values and the same beliefs that I have. And at the same time, at the end of the day, we need to understand that only because we hire a mentor, there's different levels of access to that person, right? And it's just like when you go to a concert, you either listen to the CD, a music concert, you listen to the CD in your house, you watch the video in your house, you go to the concert and you sit on the nosebleeds, or you buy the VIP ticket where you go backstage and meet the artist, and then get to sit right in front of him and kind of like he gives you the hand, have the more one-on-one experience. It's the same thing with mentors. You're gonna have some mentors that you're never gonna get access to them, and maybe you're picking the wrong mentor at that moment because you do not have that access to him. So now you have to do all the work by yourself, and people don't like to do the work. So it's, where do we meet that mentor? Where do we have find the right mentor that we have access to? So like that we could work with them one on one, and he could get me to where I need to get to. And at the end of the day, not all mentors are gonna be forever. You're gonna find a mentor that's gonna be for a certain period of your life, and then you go to the next one and the next one and the next one, and it always keeps scaling up.
So that's a great point, right? So when you talk about mentors, right, I've seen Grant Cardone, I've seen Brad Lee, I've seen all these guys that are pretty much self millionaires, right? And then people buy them. This is just my personal opinion, right? They want to be paying the money for a brand name, right? Because it's a brand name, right? They branded themselves, and they've been able to visualize themselves on social media. They've been able to show the material things and sell the dream. So in your sense, and you're close to them and you're right there with them, I'm not going to discuss that because you are up there. So can you elaborate on how is it that when you're picking a mentor that is a pretty much a commercial brand name versus another mentor, what do you see the difference? I know you've been around other people like that.
Well, the huge difference is the network, right? So if you're going into this mentorship that has a community, and a quick example, I think let me just make it more like a live example, right? So in August, I'm going to be going to this mastermind. It's called $100 million mastermind. Everybody to go to that event, they're paying $100,000 per year to be part of that mastermind. So now you might not have access to that mentor, that one-on-one access to that mentor because he's making hundreds of millions of dollars, but the network that you're surrounding yourself with are like-minded individuals that are at a different level, at a different tier of business that you want to be at or you want to get to. So it's not the same thing as, let me join a mentorship group where I'm only paying $500 a month, and it's going to give me people that are making less than $200,000 a year. That let me join a mentorship group or a community of like-minded individuals that they're making $500,000 or maybe $1 million a year. Your relationships are going to be different. So it's all about not only the branding, but also the people that you're going to get exposed to, the people that you're going to meet. And out of a lot of the communities that I've been part of, I have built amazing relationships that has gotten me quite a few things. Investors, it has gotten me mentors, it has gotten me business partners, or it has gotten me clients where I'm able to mentor people to get to my level. You're mute.
Another person I meant to mention also is Patrick Ben-David, right? He's been able to, he was in WFG. I knew him for a while, and then he created his own company, PHP, and now he created, podcasts and then the Vault. So it's just as you stated, right? They're coming to him and they're paying an exorbitant amount of money to be able to stretch their vision. Now, this is one individual that I know that has been able to deliver because he has lived the same kind of life that you have, right? He came from Iran, was living in Glendale and everything else, was able to have a vision that other people resented, but was now the fruits of the labor able to do that because the results speak, correct?
Exactly.
So, when people, let me ask you this, when you're going to this type of inner circle, right? And you're around and I see that with the level of people that are paying that amount of money, what is the climate of these individuals? How do you feel the vibe when you're in that type of conference? What do you see that people don't understand?
It's a really good vibe. A lot of people think, it'll be intimidating to be in places like that or be a lot different. But at the end of the day, you're going to meet a lot of the most humble people you could ever think, because now once you start getting to a certain level, it's all about how can we serve the masses versus how can I make more money. So when you're at the bottom, you want to figure out how can I make more money? What do I need to do in order to grow? Once you're at the top, it's like, okay, how can I serve more people? How can I help more people out? And it becomes a bigger vision where, hey, how can we work together? How can we collaborate with each other? What are your needs? What are you lacking for? And then it becomes not so much talk about business, but now it becomes a talk about more about personal and relationship. What are you struggling with? What's going on in your personal life? What's going on in your relationships? Because at the end of the day, the business grows, but we have to make sure that we have the balance in life.
So the biggest thing I could hear is like trust, right? You don't trust yourself to be able to trust yourself with the mentor, and then you don't want to expose yourself to the vulnerabilities of what you have that can pretty much keep you from getting to that point of success, right? You have to be totally transparent. And I think that's the biggest thing that people fail to do, right? They fail to understand the concept, right? And they fail to understand that if I'm going to get together with Edwin, right? Carry on. I have to be, and I'm not only buying his time, there's time that he can't get back and I can't get back. I have to invest it. I need to get something, a takeaway that can be able to do that. And I believe that a lot of people are overseeing that, but for a fact that that's a process, correct?
Definitely, of course. For example, I'll share a quick story about one of my mentees, that his problem was not that he wasn't good in business. His problem was that he had a personal problem that he needed to deal with his family. And the moment that we got through that, his business just excelled. And he realized that he needed to continue growing. And just like that, he applies little steps, little things here and there, and they start growing. So we have to become and be fully transparent in everything, in every way, because it doesn't do you any good to have an awesome relationship and have a sorry business. And it doesn't do you any good to have an awesome business and a sorry relationship. Or maybe you're not taking care of yourself. You're not taking care of your health. You're not taking care of your body or your temple, because at the end of the day, God gave us this temple that we have to take care of.
Look, I totally agree with you. I believe in longevity, right? Work-life balance. You are a walking business card, right? People see you, they size you up, they see everything. Your presence, your vibration, your energy says it all when you have your command presence, when you walk into an environment. Depending on how you conduct yourselves, people can take a second look because they can feel that energy. It could be positive or negative, but energy, you can't destroy that. So with people that are self-doubting, right? What do you say about people that are self-doubting but they still want to be successful? How do you respond to that?
The first thing that I ask them is, and I love this analogy, is like, do you believe in God? And the ones that tell me that they do believe in God, I'm like, if you believe in God and you know God created you as an equal image of Him, then why don't you believe in yourself? It goes as far as that.
Well, my whole thing is I believe in God, but people don't understand that we live in a fallen world, right? And as we live in a fallen world, we lose track of what's going on. Because at the end of the day, you know and I know, right? You want to set your family up for success and an exit plan. Now, people don't believe in taking care of their family. God forbid something happens to them, you leave them, financially in a rut, and you ruin generations of everything else because you failed to provide some type of financial establishment, to make sure that when you leave this planet and you leave, that you don't leave your family stranded. I'm a firm believer in that, but in today's business world, people will lose sight of that because they're caught up with everything else. What do you see about that?
I mean, you said it. Everybody's caught up with, themselves. I do believe in generational wealth, but I think the best generational wealth that you can leave behind, it's making sure that your kids have the right values, the right beliefs. You create amazing experiences for them, and you teach them how to always be humble and how to work hard. And that's going to take them a long way versus just leave them a lot of money and then becoming spoiled and not learning how to take care of their own.
So your kids and your generation, that's going to be a different generation as we get older, right? Because social media is very prevalent in our lives. Where you came up, social media was coming and involved. I came up, there was no social media, and we have a different mindset. So, what do you say about people that are trying to utilize social media to be able to build business, and how do they think that by creating a major following they're successful, but there's nothing to prove to that? What do you
Yeah.
say about
Well, you definitely now, we cannot be ancient and not believe in social media because social media is here and it's here to stay. Just like crypto is, and just like everything else is here to stay, right? For the long run. We have to adapt and overcome. That comes from the Marine Corps. We have to adapt and overcome to all the things that are coming our way. So in this case, in this era, one of the best things that you could ever do is create that personal brand, create that social media brand. Because, like I was mentioning earlier, it's not all about doing business the old way, but it's also about doing business the new way. And the new way is technology, is social media. I wouldn't be able to manage multiple companies and live in South America, and if it wasn't for technology, if it wasn't for social media. So creating and building a personal brand in social media, it's like a must thing to do nowadays for whatever you want. Even if you want to have a great job, if you're the type of person that wants to work for somebody else, that also helps you open doors into different places or with different people.
So my whole thing, right, as you say, is social media. Uh, excuse me, my wife's passing by. All right, go ahead. I got a wife that I got to take care of business, so hold on. All right, but anyway, getting back to, so I totally agree with you with social media, but the problem is that people lose the sight of reality versus artificial intelligence, right? And they don't know that sometimes people say things or anything else. Now, it could be depending on the case by case, but I'm right there with you. I've been on the social media platform for 20 years. I've been able to establish a good following, a brand. But here's the biggest thing that I've learned from you, Edwin, and other individuals as well, is that need to be able to level up and learn from other individuals like yourself, that how can you take it to another level, that you reach that ceiling. And in that point, and that point, you need to understand that, okay, I plateaued, right? And as I plateau, I can't get frustrated because I've done everything I can. So my mindset has to be able to expand. And this is where people like yourself come in. So what do you say to people like that? Let me ask you that.
There's times that we are going to plateau in everything. Even when you're working out, you're trying to lose weight, and you're going to hit a plateau. But it's, how do we overcome those plateaus? What do we need to do? Are we making those small changes that we need to make? Are we going back and finding the right strategy that we need to do? Are we doing the things that we need to do in order to get over that plateau, right? And for the people that are growing social media, we might hit a plateau. And what we need to do is we need to change our strategy. We need to figure out what is the right algorithm that's happening right now. In business, when we hit a plateau, and it's happened to me that we hit that ceiling that you can't get past $1 million. You can't get past 5 million. You can't get past 10 million. We all hit that plateau. And what do we need to do is we need to bring somebody else that is going to help us get over that plateau, over that ceiling, in order for us to go to the next level, to the next stage.
So don't you think that both of us as Christians, don't you think that trust is a valuable commodity that's irreplaceable, that can be established, but it can be destroyed in seconds? And people don't understand that in a business, right? You're in a business for a business marriage, but there's some ethics to that as well. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Of course. Yeah. It's, trust is like the biggest thing in life. If you don't have trust, we don't have anything.
So my whole thing, right, with trust, right, is being around like-minded people. And I'm sure that in your journey of being a 8-figure earner, right, you've surrounded yourself with people like that. What can you say in your personal experience that got to your level, and what that people don't understand that you can relate to them, and saying, why is it so important to be around people that can help you get to that plateau, especially when it comes to trust?
It's understanding that once you build those relationships, that there are people that have your same mindset, your same beliefs, think just like you do, that when you hit those moments of plateau, those ceilings, or those moments that you think they're tough, you go back to them and you're going to realize that maybe they lived through that, or maybe what you really think is a huge problem, a huge ordeal, means nothing to them or nothing to you. And then they make you realize. And, again, to put another life story into perspective, the moment that I lost a few $1 million in the Forex market, I was stressed. I was telling my business, my inner circle, guys that are making $100 million a year. And like, man, it's only $2 million, and it goes back into like, perspectives are always different. Your perspective is not the same one as mine. Your $100,000 might not be, when you come to me and you tell me right now, Edwin, I lost $100,000. To me, it's only $100,000, just like it was to my friend. It's only $2 million. And it just, perspectives are different. So that's why we need those people around us to give us a different perspective, to expose us to the unexposed.
That's funny when somebody tells you it's only $2 million. It's only $100,000. Not even people can even fathom that they can do that. Even like myself, humbly speaking, I said, man, what would happen if I lost like $2 million or $20 million? How would I act, right? I can't even imagine that. That's how my growth on that point is. And I'm being very transparent, right? That's why we're having this type of conversation on this platform. It's because the specific content people understand is, you have people like myself, you need to leave yourself vulnerable to understand that, yeah, I don't understand. I can't relate, but I'm willing to relate. But at the same time, biggest thing that we both have in common with my business partner, we're all Christians, right? And we all believe in that. And I think that, right, we have a firm belief that without the man upstairs, we're not going to be able to success. You can ask, but there's a price to pay. And then for you to ask, you got to be a public servant. How do you feel about that?
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. You have to ask. Look, one of my mentors always said, become an asshole. Ask as much as you want, because if you don't ask, you're never going to get the answer. So type that in the chat. If you got that one, become an asshole. Always ask. Type that in the chat, because you need to know that forever.
Well, we'll do that pretty soon. That pretty much I gotta watch with Big Brother, because that's how they is. LinkedIn is kind of it's nothing like YouTube or anything else. It's pretty much conservative, but it's not. You don't know when the wind's coming out. But now let's talk about how you see today's society from business. You see it from a different perspective, right? You've seen the changes in the last 4 or 5 years. What is it that you see as an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur, business, that people don't see, that you see, that needs to take immediate action?
Let me think about immediate action. In my circle, we as humans we end up to surrounding yourself, encasing ourselves in this little bubble, right? Where
Hmm.
either things are bad or things are good or things are okay. My bubble tends to be that everything is going well and is going okay because the people that I surround myself, I'm always seeing like hungry entrepreneurs, always hustling, working hard, making good moves, growing hard, right? But on the other spectrum, there's people that are blaming everything else. They always want to be the victim. I think the biggest thing that needs to shift for young entrepreneurs, for entrepreneurs that are not hitting that $1 million, that have been in business for 2, 3 years and are working 60 hours per week, is let's shift that victim mentality. Let's leave everything in the past and let's focus on to what is it that we want. And let's also understand, are we following the right business practices? Did we do the things that we needed to do? Did we create the right business plan? Did we create the right cash flow sheet? Did we create the right pitch deck in order to raise capital? Did we create the right mindset in order for us to get to the $1 million or where we needed to get? So if you don't have those strategic things that every business owner must have, it's gonna be hard and you're always gonna continue being the victim.
You make a valid point, right? People play victim, and that's why for myself, I even played that. I'm going to take call myself out. For a period of time, I called myself a victim, and I said, I was feeling sorry for myself because I was so disappointed because I had high expectations of what I need to do. But here I am still in my life, and there's always an opportunity to change. And people don't understand that because they're just living to exist and they're lacking the purpose, right? And it takes people like yourself to be surrounded around to say, here's another opportunity to keep on going where other people quit. They quit because they don't believe in themselves. They quit because they don't have any faith. And they also quit because they lack purpose, right? So those are
Yes.
the three principles that I believe in. But for me to be surrounded by people like yourself and my inner circle with other people is knowing the type of mindset, like-mindedness, the core values, the beliefs speaks for itself because, correct me if I'm wrong, Edwin, no amount of money can replace a relationship. What do you say?
No, no, for definitely not. And I'll tell you, sometimes money changes people. People don't change for money, but money changes some people. And I lost very good friendships because of money.
And my whole thing is that that's why for us, right, we need to stay together so people can see the duplication of how to work together. And then how we work together is a proponent of building a business and building wealth for others, right? And I think that the people don't understand that. They probably question, well, Edwin did this, he had help with that. Of course, Edwin had this, but the biggest thing that Edwin did, he didn't quit. $20 million, lost it, and the guy says, I'm still here. Correct?
Yeah, that is correct. Look, it took a while. Like I said, it took me a while to get back up again. But the most important thing is not how long does it take us to get back up, is how do we get back up and how do we continue moving forward. And to put again another example into this, I was listening to a speaker about a year ago, um, saying that 90% of the successful people, they become successful between their 65 and 70 years old. So I started thinking about that. I'm like, wow, I'm only 42 years old at that time. I'm like, I still have like another 20 years to go. So
Correct.
always keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that it's never too late to start, because you might be thinking that you miss the boat, you miss your opportunity. But again, it only takes a few years to become very successful. I did it quite a few times in multiple industries. So there's no reason that you can become very successful starting today.
So here's another thing, right? The founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken, right? Yeah, he was failing and failing. He
Yeah.
even created that, and then he didn't want to take any of the shares. The shareholders of Kentucky Fried Chicken wanted to make sure this man failed in his 60s, mid 60s. It wasn't until his 70s and 80s before he passed away he blew up to a point the legacy. That's a poster child example of how not to quit. But the biggest thing I can tell you, right, with all these individuals, can you give a little advice of the veterans that going through transition that want solution orientated facts about business. So they come to you, they come in transition, but they want to have solution orientated, facts. What can you say to these people that are they're asking for that advice, but they're still in that level that they're uncertain? I've seen it all the time.
Oh, okay. So, when we have moments of uncertainty, it's a couple of things. It's number one is a trust issue. Number two, it's the fear factor, right? It's always about the fear factor. What if? What if I fail? What if it doesn't work? What is if it's scam? What if, what if, what if? So at that moment, one of the things that I will say is that, and I love to do is like, find yourself that community, get yourself surrounded by people that are doing the things that you want to do. And then in little time, you're going to realize that you have to take that leap of faith. You have to take that chance. You have to take that opportunity, and you're going to start doing the things that you want. For me, one of the things that I love doing, and I think one of the things that I wanted to do now that we're on this call today, Hiram, I wanted to do something special with all your audience, everybody that stay here on this episode. And I wanted to invite everyone to a business and mindset experience event where I'm able to teach everything about business. How do you start a business? How do you scale a company? How do you grow a business? How do you raise capital? Because one of the biggest things and one of the biggest myths that everybody that wants to start a business goes is like, I don't have money, I can't start a business. And to me, that's just a myth because there's money everywhere. God gave us abundance, there's abundance everywhere. So I want to invite your whole audience to come to an event, to spend time together with us, and let me teach them what I teach a lot of entrepreneurs in a business and mindset experience event, where I take them through the step-by-step process of getting that first step into entrepreneurship.
I think you need to put that in the chat so we can be able to share that. This won't be the last time we have a conversation because I respect your time and you're pretty busy, right, for us. And I can see that because my whole thing is that in today's economic situation where prices are like $15,000 more than it is in the United States versus Colombia, people are struggling and they're not focusing. And what happens when they have these stressors, they have the lack of belief. But they need an individual like yourself that is pretty much, hey, I've been there, I've done it. You can't tell me anything different. The only thing you can tell me different is a different story with the same results,
Exactly.
So last thing before we wrapped up, what is important for you as a Christian and for your family, and how do you see yourself differently from 22 to 45 and then going down into the road into your 50s?
How do I see myself different from 22 to 45? That now I understand what is it to have a relationship with God versus having a belief in God. So that's one of the biggest difference, right? Because we all could believe, but at the moment that we start having that relationship, everything changes. So that's number one. Number two, I'm very blessed. I'm very happy where I am right now and all the mistakes that I made along the way, because I lived a life that if I were to, be in a hospital about to die right now, I look back at my life and I could say, wow, I did so many amazing things that I don't regret anything that I did in my life. I just had an awesome, awesome life versus looking back and saying, I should have done that. I could have done that. I would have done that. So I think those are the two big things.
Thank you, Edwin. So if you like this segment of LinkedIn Perspective, share it, like it, tag it. I'll send you the link of YouTube as well, Edwin. I think that this has been a very informative and very highly conversational piece as far as getting to know people. And I think people can learn from that as well. As Latinos ourselves, we are pretty much role models and professional role models for other entrepreneurs that need to understand that, and it shouldn't be a stigma in the United States, correct?
Exactly, definitely. And then to everyone listening, to everyone here, thank you very much for staying until the end, sticking around. Go ahead and send me a DM at Edwin Carrion 78 in all the social media channels. Send me podcast 24. Send me a DM with podcast 24. And what I'm going to do, because you stay until then, because you stay here, I'm going to give you not only the free book that I give everybody else, but I'm also going to give you access to one of my programs called Startup Business Superstack for free. I'm going to do that just for your people today. Hiram, thank you for having me here. But also, I'm going to give them the opportunity for them to sign up to that event that I want to put together, which is going to be a 2-day seminar, completely free.
So so what we're gonna do is, we'll stay on it. We'll create another event, right, and circle
Yes.
back, and then have a conversation. Edwin, it was a pleasure. I think the flow of the conversation went very well. Just from my understanding, there's some engagement. It's for LinkedIn perspective for all you individuals. I focus on strictly content, the high level of content. This is a classic example of why I only focus on that versus other podcasts that are very important out of respect, but content like this, it doesn't come around. So if you like this content of LinkedIn perspective, share it, like it, tag it, make your comments known. If you want Edwin to come back around, put your comments on the chat as well, and we'll create another event. Edwin, I'll let you close it out.
Thank you. And don't forget, DM me podcast 24. So I'm able to send you your free gift. Edwin, Carrion 78, in all social media channels. Edwin Carrion 78. DM me podcast 24. So like that, you could get your free gift. And I'll see you on the 2-day business and mindset experience. Looking forward to that. Thank you for having me here. And always remember, if you don't know where you're going, you will eventually get there.
Don't you have an Instagram account as well?
Yes. Edwin Carrion 78. All the social media channels, the same one.
Awesome. All right. Simplify, always beside you. Thank you. And enjoy your Friday. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless to everybody. Thank you.
Stand by there, Edwin.